Hi guys, this is Ranjit and welcome to the 8 Tech Q&A session for this year, that's 2020, and this is for September. And I've got a bunch of questions that you guys have posted via Twitter, so let's go over them. And first question is from Mr. Sahu. Interesting question. He's saying, why are companies in mid high-end phones more eager to put a wide-angle lens instead of a telephoto? Telephoto is a zoom lens. Telephoto is more useful, he says, as most times we take pics of family friends, but only S21 FE under 50K offers a telephoto lens. And to answer your question, Mr. Sahu, the simple answer is money. If you don't know, the telephoto lens are way more expensive than ultra wide lenses that you get. That's why you generally do not see what you say telephoto, zoom lens, or even the periscope lenses on mid-range phones and even some premium mid-range phones. These are actually reserved generally for flagship because they do cost a lot more. That is a simple answer, guys. It's just because of the money factor. It's the cost. Okay, let's move to the next one. This is by Tanzil. Why companies use high resolution camera in phones, be it 64, 108 or 50 megapixel, only to bring it down to about 12 megapixel. Can they not use a larger 12 megapixel camera sensor that can perform well in low light? If you notice, most of the flagship, in fact, iPhones use a 12 megapixel sensor. Samsung also was using a 12 megapixel for a long time. But in the S22 series and now even the latest Fold 4, they have migrated from 12 to 50 megapixel. Yes, the 12 megapixel actually gathers in a lot more light. That's why the higher megapixel counts that you see, for example, 48, 50 or 64, they always pixel bin. They say they combine 4 pixels to get better light. The problem is, yes, 12 megapixel is actually does a lot better the native sensor in what do you say low lighting and difficult lighting situations. But again, when you try to zoom in a 12 megapixel image, after a certain point, you don't just have the clarity. And these days, users are just snap a picture, zoom in and crop in. So that's why I think so now manufacturers, even Samsung in the flagships, is moving to a 50 megapixel. It's a decent kind of a compromise, I would say. And in low lighting these days, guys, at least in the flagships and the better smartphones, the ISPs have become so good that even in dull lighting, the after image processing has become so good, they can produce very, very good pictures. So that's the reason. But yeah, in what do you say in mid-range and cheaper phones, the gimmick of 50 megapixel 48 is just the number game. A person who's buying a mid-range or something, he's not that tech savvy or something, he will be inclined more to buy a phone with a 50 megapixel or a 64 megapixel camera sensor instead of it just says 12 megapixel. That's how the brain works, guys. And it's also a number game, especially in the mid-range market. Anyways, move to the next one. This is by Tarun Sai. He is asking, will you suggest Nothing Phone 1 and what price also is, in your opinion, the Pixel 6a overall a good performance? Let's first talk about the Pixel 6a. Pixel 6a had got the Android 13 update, but guys, I couldn't actually test it out because I was testing the Fold and now this Flip 4. So I need to test it a little bit more after the Android 13 update. How did it perform? The fingerprint sensor did not fix itself. I had to delete all the fingerprints and re-register it. Then it became slightly better. But again, fingerprint performance is not as good as a phone that you expect above 40,000. So I feel at 44,000, it's still a pricey phone considering the 60 hertz display, and I notice it every day because none of the phones that cost even above, let's say, 25,000 are coming with a 60 hertz display. Let's be frank. Let's talk about the India pricing. So I feel the pricing, if they can bring it down a little bit to about 35, 36, then it's a good deal. But if not, you are definitely paying a premium. What I like with the Pixel 6a is the haptic feedback is fabulous on that phone. It feels like a premium flagship, way better than these new Samsung phones. Also, the stereo speakers is good, and overall that clean experience, and you know that camera. So you're essentially paying for that. But again, still the processor, especially on mobile data, heats up a lot more compared to other smartphones. That's what I noticed. Regarding the Nothing Phone 1, I did not test it after the latest OT update. Guys, you need to understand, I actually used the phones before my review. So when I reviewed the Nothing Phone 1, that update was a very bad update, the third update. But now I've heard that it had got multiple updates. So I don't know how it's performing with the new update. So check with users, and if anyone of you are using the Nothing Phone 1 and if you are on the latest OT update, what's your experience? Share it, help the users in our community, guys. I think that's the best way we can help each other. I will try to get back to the nothing phone, but I doubt it will be possible because I have to test after this. The review of this will be posted very soon. Almost finished testing this one. Might put my SIM back in the 6A, and after that only I'll get a chance to put it back on the nothing phone. But again, if we get an important phone in the middle of that, then the nothing phone, again, I can't put my SIM. That's a frank reality that I want to tell you guys. Okay, moving to the next one. This is by Dark Horse. Hey, GeekyRanjit, your thoughts on the Galaxy Flip 4? Would it be fine as a daily driver, or should it be considered fragile? Also, the battery life is good. Okay, first let's talk about the battery life, and that is fabulous. I've been using this phone. Actually, to be frank, I use this phone a lot more than the Fold for this time. I thought I'll just use it for 4-5 days and for the review and give it up. But almost last 15 days, my primary SIM is in this one, and battery life is no longer an issue on the Flip 4. That was a major issue on the Flip 3, but here Samsung has fixed the battery life. So battery life is not an issue. End of the day, I'm having about 20% to 15% battery life left, and so it doesn't give me that anxiety issues. And even this is when I was mostly outdoors also. If I'm just indoors in the house with Wi-Fi throughout the day, then sometimes I'm actually having at least about 25 to 30% battery life left in the day. In terms of screen on time, about anywhere from 5 hours. If it's very heavy usage, mostly mobile data, 4.5 hours also. 4.5 to the maximum I got is 6 hours. So battery life has been fixed. And again, I'm using it like this. As you can see, I'm not trying to be like gentle on this, using the screen, pressing it, and it's been working fine. So yes, this will be a little bit more fragile than a normal phone. You're not supposed to poke it with your fingers or a sharp object like this, because again, it's a plastic screen with thin UTG glass. But in regular usage, I feel this should not be a issue, I would say. Certainly this product has, they have actually refined, I would say, the Flip 3 and improved some of the flaws. The only thing is the cover screen, I would say, on this Flip 4 is still very, very small to be very much usable. I thought I'll use this a lot more, but frankly, I just use it to see the time and stuff like that, and basic what notification, anything more, I have to open this up. So wish this was bigger, but overall battery life was not an issue. Okay, let's move to the next one. This is by Keshav. He's asking, Vivo X70 Pro will be available for almost 45,000 in BBD sale. That's Big Billion Day sale. Will it be a good buy? Yeah, if you're able to get it for 45K, yes. The Vivo Vivo X8 80 X80, yeah, is the latest one. But even the 70 Pro, if you're able to get it on the that 45,000, it's a good thing. Just notice it's the last generation chipset. So that chipset in general has slight tendency to get warm a little bit when you stress it. But apart from that, yes, for that price, it's a good phone. The camera is actually very good on that one. This is by Rahul Gupta. He's asking, what are the benefits and downsides of using an ecosystem? Is it advisable to get into an ecosystem like Samsung or Apple? I'll give you my practical point of view. For example, for my main computers, I use a Mac. I have a Mac. This is a MacBook Pro. I have an iMac. But if you notice, mostly my main smartphones where my primary SIM is there are mostly Android phones. Yes, I have an iPhone, but it's my third redundant SIM that is available on that one. The only place where I felt having an iPhone personally for me was useful is that you take a picture with an iPhone, instantly with the AirDrop you can transfer it to the computer. That's very, very easy. On an Android, yes, I do it with an application called AirDroid, so that's not a big issue to me. Yes, you can even take calls on the Mac with that, but I hardly took it because the clarity is sometimes not that good. But there are apps for Android also do it on a Windows based computer. So I would say personally for me, that ecosystem thing was not a deal breaker to me. The only place where it's a very strong ecosystem from Apple is if you have an iPhone and an Apple Watch. That integration is amazing. But apart from that, if you have a computer, Mac computer, yes, transferring of files and etc. with AirDrop is easier. But we do have a lot of alternatives, free softwares on Android that can do that. So I personally did not feel a big deal. But yeah, if you decide that you will be only going with Android based devices all the way, yes, it makes your life easy to a certain extent. But it's not like a complete deal breaker to me. Frankly speaking, I don't use iMessage, so I don't care about it. WhatsApp, Telegram is Telegram also I just don't use it. WhatsApp is something that I use a lot, and that works everywhere on every platform. Anyways, moving to the next one. This is by Suresh. Hey Ranjit, hope you are good. Considering the stability of Android updates, don't you feel iPhones will be dominating in coming days? What's your thoughts on this one? Yes, to a certain extent. In the last 1.5 years, specifically, I would say after Android 12, a lot of Android smartphones have started having issues. It's not just one brand. This is happening across all the brands. Recently, Xiaomi's, a lot of Redmi phones had an issue. The OnePlus series of smartphones had it. Samsung S20 Plus actually had issues after OT update. So it's not just with one specific brand. That's happening with a lot of brands. And I hope this stops. I don't know, it's a bad batch of displays or something. But yeah, Android updates, especially on slightly older phones, are crippling the performance or creating hardware issues, motherboard issues and stuff. And this is high time Google also gets involved into this, because this is not just happening to one specific brand or one specific model. It's happening a lot. And maybe some of these OEMs are doing it intentionally, because this is only happening after your warranty and stuff gets expired. It's happening to older devices. So I hope this stops. So yeah, if this doesn't stop after a certain price range, people might gravitate to iPhones, because they will easily last for 3 to 5 years without any issues. Anyways, moving to the next one. This is by Anush. Is the Pixel Buds Pro comfortable to wear 3 or 4 hours? In a stretch, does it cause any ear fatigue pain? Lastly, is it worth considering for non-Samsung Android phones? Yes, you can use it on any Android phone. In fact, you just need to download one app that is specific, that's available in Play Store. So it works with any Android smartphone. So that's not an issue. Compatibility, not an issue. Comfort, I would say the Pixel Buds Pro are very, very comfortable. These come in the top 5 in terms of comfort, in terms of the earbuds that I personally cannot wear. Even AirPods, which I feel are the most comfortable, that also I cannot wear more than 2.5 hours. My ears are a little bit weird. That way, I would say the Pixel Buds Pro I could wear almost for 1.5 hours easily without any issues. So these are actually pretty comfortable, because people say they can wear the AirPods Pro for 7-8 hours. I personally, after 2.5 hours, I have to, with any buds. It's not just these specific, any buds, I have to take it out. But in terms of comfort, they are actually very comfortable. So in terms of comfort, if you're worried, don't worry about this. This is nothing like the Sony XM4s or the older Galaxy Pros, where actually the fit was so big that it used to give you ear pain. That's not an issue on this one. So that way, I would say not an issue. I would say the latest Galaxy Buds Pro are slightly more comfortable than the Buds 2 Pro, because I feel they're slightly physically smaller. But yeah, pretty comfortable, I would say. This is by Varun Gandhi. He's asking, which apps do you use for video and photo editing? For video editing, I use Final Cut Pro X, Final Cut Pro. That is actually works only on the Mac. That's the big reason I would say I particularly use a Mac. Otherwise, I have some Windows gaming laptops. I could easily migrate to Windows for my regular work. It's just the video application that I have works on the Mac, that is Final Cut. And as I'm using Mac, I also found this very affordable video photo editing software that is known as Pixelmator, and I'm using it. I'm not even on the latest version, just last year's generation version that I had purchased. So I use this Pixelmator and Final Cut Pro for video editing. This is by Ravi. He's asking, please guide me how to take action against Samsung India after their update crashed the M31s. Now it restarts every 2 minutes and I can't use it. They are asking me to pay 8,000 to replace the motherboard. How can a company do this? My case isn't an isolated issue. Ravi, I would suggest, if it's in warranty, they should actually do it. Else do some go to consumer court and file a report there. What I've noticed is that when you file a complaint in consumer court, these vendors take very quick action, because otherwise they have to pay very high liabilities. So try that route. But again, as I've told you, this comes back to the other question that I had posted earlier. Many of the Android smartphones, after certain time, with OT updates, are giving problems, and I've told this, I think so, dozens and dozens of time, and I'm tired of this. Don't upgrade your older Android phones. Just don't rush out and update it when you get a latest OT updates, because many of them are creating hardware issues. It's just not across Samsung. I've seen this across most of the brand except Moto. I think so. I've seen this almost with every other Android OEM now. This is by Aditya. Do people buy iPhones for show off in the Indian market, or does the device have some utility? I understand in US because people have iMessage and FaceTime, but every app that we use in India are not locked to Apple devices. Yes, I understand iMessage is not used that much in India. And your first statement, I would say yes, a certain segment of users might buy iPhones only for show off, and particularly the Pro version. I see a lot of people buying the Pro version of the iPhone because it's distinct with that 3 camera setup. But I feel after a certain point, iPhones also are more practical. If you are going with the regular versions, let's say the regular iPhone 13 or something, not the Pro. The Pro is ridiculously overpriced in India. I'll just say it, ridiculously overpriced in India. But the regular version with some credit card deals or whatever, or if you're buying it, let's say the 13 is the current version. If you're buying the iPhone 12 now, in many of these online sales, you can get it for a very good price. You might get it as low as 55, 60,000. And for that price, the iPhones do make a lot more sense. It's not a status symbol. In fact, it will work out a little bit cheaper than an Android phone. Because if you're a person who does not like to change your smartphones very frequently, you can live with an Android phone for 4 to 5 years without any issues. That I cannot say as of now for Android phones because of the issues that we are having with OTA update. So it's not just what you say, show off. Yes, there is a segment of people who buy it only for show off, but there are some segment of your users who do not change their phone for 4 or 5 years, want that long life with the phone. I would say a regular version of iPhone in sales, if you're getting, that's actually a value oriented deal. If you look at the long-term value, 4 or 5 years, you won't be changing the phone. So if you calculate the cost, it works out to be actually a good deal. Anyways, moving to the next one. This is by Ankit. The whole concept of universal USB-C is floating around, but how far is it useful considering the fact that each device requires a different wattage to charge, hence the requirement of multiple adapters? Okay, let me talk about this. This is very important. I think so USB-C is a big boon, but as you say, some of the vendors have different wattages and something, and this is only happening to a lot of Chinese smartphone manufacturers because they don't follow the power delivery standards or the quick charge standards. They try to make their own, especially the BBK group. They have their own VOOC charge or whatever, which is not a standard. Only the BBK group of smartphones like Oppo, Vivo, or OnePlus, etc. use that. So that is not a standard. But apart from that, if you look at Samsung, Apple, Motorola, and other smartphone vendors, they follow a standard of USB charging. For example, most of them are actually now supporting. Samsung does support, Apple also does support, Motorola to a certain extent. Many of their smartphones actually, after a certain price point, do support power delivery charging. So this is actually a standard. In fact, I generally do not use the OEM chargers. I was using, I generally use power bricks like this. This is the latest one that I purchased just last month ago, because this one is a 4-port charger. And in fact, the 2 ports are power delivery, the first 2 ports. And I can actually charge laptops. I've charged MacBook Air. I'm actually testing the new Xiaomi laptop. I'm able to charge with that. And most of the smartphones that support power delivery with this one. And as it's a hub, I can charge actually 4 simultaneous devices. So yes, this USB Type-C is a big boon. I love devices that have USB-C charging, but they support standards of charging like power delivery or quick charge standard. Not that some crazy proprietary VOOC charge or something like that. That is not a standard. But yes, that is the reason I am least bothered about multiple chargers or chargers not coming in the box, because you can have one good, and this if I recall, I purchased this from Amazon. I'll leave the link. This is not that expensive. In fact, it has a display etc. over here which shows you the exact charging and all this thing. This was for 2.5, 2.6, I don't know, something like that. So so if you have a good charging dock or something with a single charger, and if your smartphone supports the proper standards like power delivery, quick charge standards, which is a standard in industry, then it is very easy. In fact, whenever I travel, I just carry one, a laptop charger, that is a 65-watt charger, that is a PD charger. And I charge all my, laptop, of course, my smartphones, etc. and all accessories, because most of them are USB Type-C with that single charger. So yes, it's a good thing, but it's just because some company like BBK Group or something, they decided, okay, we will not follow the standard. We'll do something crazy like that, 90-watt, our proprietary. You can't blame the entire industry. Anyways, let's move to the next one. This is by Keshav. Are we going to see any SoC launches in mid-range by Qualcomm, which is better than Snapdragon 695 and a bit slower than 778, so that we can get a phone around 21K with good overall? Yes, I feel it's high time now Qualcomm releases a new mid-range chipset because the Snapdragon 778 is pretty pricey. That's why most of the smartphones that come with that are going above 25,000 and even closer to about 30,000. So I hope Qualcomm releases a chipset. But 695, yes, is okay below 20,000 phones, but above that I feel it has lacking power because it doesn't support 4K video and stuff like that. That's the reason I think so. If I recall, in my Moto G82 review or something, I don't know, yeah, or 81, I don't even recall. They did launch so many models. 82, I think so it was. I said that though the phone is very good and everything, the choice of using the Snapdragon 695 was slightly wrong. They could have actually gone with the MediaTek Dimensity series of SoCs. In fact, right now, currently in the market, specifically in the mid-range, I would say from let's say 18 to 25,000, the MediaTek Dimensity chipsets perform way better than Qualcomm, and it's high time Qualcomm launches a good mid-range smartphone. Otherwise, they will start losing the market. They're just pushing the Snapdragon 695 and they're pricing the 778 like, okay, it's an angel. Anyways, moving to the next one. This is by Sunil. What do you think about the H30 Fusion? Waiting for it to launch. Currently using nothing, but don't know as the software in nothing is not good compared to Moto. So is it better to shift to Moto as I've used Moto mobiles for the past 7 years? Let's see. Yes, a lot of rumors that the Moto H30 Fusion is going to be launching soon. Let's see when it comes and at what price. I don't think so it will be priced at close to nothing phones or whatever, because in leak specs, the specs are a lot higher. Let's see, but very interesting. So Sunil, would love to know your thoughts. So even after the latest OT update, do you feel that nothing phone is still having a lot of bugs? That's interesting. I thought they might have fixed by now all the bugs. So yeah, you can wait and see what Motorola launches. I'm also curious about it to see what they do. But again, if you're going to sell your nothing phone and buy this, I don't think so you get a lot of resale value when you sell Android phone. But yeah, that's you. Anyways, this is the next question. This is by Venu G. He says, hey Ranjit, when can we expect NFC payment support in smartwatches and wearables? Though Google Pay and Samsung Pay in India. Without that, what's the use of NFC function in Galaxy Watch and Galaxy 5? Again, guys, it's not the Galaxy Watch 4, Galaxy Watch 5, etc. These functions, what do you say, Samsung Pay, etc., work actually in other countries. In fact, even with Apple Watch, you in India, you cannot pay with your watch. And these restrictions are by our Indian government. So our Indian government needs to lift these restrictions. The hardware capabilities are there. So many of you have even asked me about the Galaxy Watch 5, Galaxy Watch 4. Even this Galaxy Watch 5 can do BP and ECG. But as of now, they did get the permission from Indian government to enable it. So it's our Indian government, some of the restrictions what they have, it's for them to lift the restrictions, and then only these vendors can enable that functionality. I hope we do get that very soon. Anyways, guys, these were the questions for this tech Q&A session. I hope you guys liked it, and if you guys are still not subscribed to this YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video. Take care, guys.